You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello and welcome to Lux Life Discovered. My guest today is Zach Reynolds with Slader's Alaskan Dumpling. So Zach, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, good deal. So tell me, okay, in the world of food trucks and everything else, tell me what prompted you to do this and just kind of give us a little background about the company.
So I guess back in June, I decided that I wanted to do something more than the job I had, which was a manager at a dessert restaurant. Decided I wanted to do more. So we decided to contact Slader to see if he would actually franchise or license. And we got down there on a meeting, and he decided he wanted to sell the whole thing to us. So we said, okay, we'll do that. And here we are, I guess 6 months later. We got a location in Little Rock, a location opening in Jonesboro very shortly, and the original location in Searcy. And I also moved the food truck around all over Northeast Arkansas. I'll be going to Memphis next month. And then, in the summertime, we hit up all the festivals all around the state and try to do what we can. So.
Okay. So what was in particular about this company that impressed you?
So really, it's the food, the atmosphere they have. Whenever you go into Searcy, it's kind of more of like a nostalgic 90s, like Alaskan middle of the wilderness cabin. You get to see all the unique mugs from all over Alaska, the magnets from where people have traveled, just the whole inside and the whole design of the place that was just like a 10 years of Slader, who's the original owner, just building it, trip by trip whenever he went to Alaska. He's from there, so he'd go back there. And just the way it looked, how niche it was, the marketing, the model, he had it all very easily laid out to build off of. And so I just saw it as something that could be more than one restaurant and a food truck. So the goal is to expand and kind of get into that franchise ability, or get good enough at the process and everything to where we can franchise it and other people can enjoy the dumplings like I do.
All right. So as far as like the building itself, are you going to have that type building in Jonesboro? Are you going to like duplicate what's there? Is that going to be like your trademark, or what are you thinking on that point?
So really, like I said, the restaurant Cersei is really nostalgic, just put together after years of, knickknacks and stuff. Jonesboro is a little more modern. We're going to be in the yard, and we're in the last spot that was originally supposed to be a coffee place. So it's taking some time to kind of redo it and get it how we needed to serve out of it. But it's like we're in like a food hall. So it's kind of like a concession stand, but we have the back unit, so we're able to kind of make that back space. I guess like the last frontier, kind of make it more wildernessy, whereas the front half is going to be more of like a outer, summertime backyard patio type deal. But we're going to try to customize our back of the space into something that kind of correlates with Cersei, but a little more modern.
All right, good deal. So tell us about the dumplings themselves.
So Pel'Meni and Pierogi dumplings are they originated out of Russia and Poland, kind of Eastern European, and they kind of made their way over to Alaska. We're called Slader's Alaskan Dumplings, and the Alaskan is the style that came from Alaska, which is butter, signature sauce, which is sriracha and rice vinegar mix. Sounds really weird, but put together it's really good. Because I don't like either two of those things, but I can eat hundreds of these dumplings every day. You got our special curry blend. You got cilantro and sour cream to dip it in. And you get a slice of rye bread to soak up all the juices and eat it afterwards. The Pel'Meni are like 3/4 size of a golf ball. And they have shredded chicken, ground beef, and pork in them. And then we have the pierogi, which are a little bit bigger. Those are potato and cheese. You can do Alaskan style, Russian style. We have a honey chipotle that's on the menu full time, so it's like a house made honey chipotle glaze with the tahini sauce and sesame seeds. And we have a lemon pepper. Um, I'm working on like a macaroni and cheese for kids, like a Korean barbecue. We also have a pesto Alfredo. We've done like a kind of like a baked potato type before, where we've seared this pierogi or the pierogies in like a pan and kind of dress them up like a baked potato. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with these dumplings that a lot of people don't realize, and we're just kind of trying to capitalize on um, that aspect of it before somebody else decides they want to kind of knock us off. So
Right, right. So how long did you say he had been in Cersei? 10 years? Did you
so
say?
yeah, the original Sladers opened I think in January of 2014. Whenever Slader got out of college. I think he was originally born in Little Rock, moved to Alaska to Juneau, where he was when he was really young, spent his whole life up there. There's a restaurant called Pel'Meni up there that he used to eat at all the time. It's open till like 2 or 3 a.m., which is crazy, but apparently there's not much to do in Alaska besides eat dumplings and drink beer. So whenever he graduated college down here, he just opened up his own and kind of built it over 10 years, and realized, this wasn't what he was wanting to do in his future. And I'm young and I'm wanting to try to build something unique that
Right.
a lot of people will recognize, and probably in 5 or 6 years, that's the goal, to kind of get it a lot bigger
Yeah.
and grow it.
So
That's where he handed it off to us.
yeah. So how's it been received in Jonesboro?
So Jonesboro is very different. People in Jonesboro don't necessarily like to try new food all the time. Um,
Right.
so unless we're putting it in people's faces to where they can try it, like sampling is really big, then they're not. Sorry, I'm trying to get my chart. Then they're not going to try it. So really, the big thing I've been hammering in Jonesboro is trying to give out samples. If people don't know, I'll give them out a sample to try. And most people are hooked. The food is really addicting, and I don't think a lot of people don't know what it is, but once they try it, they're pretty hooked. And we have a lot of repeat customers that come back just from trying a sample, and
Right.
ordering the food, and then coming back. And I also have like a sample program um, that I make my employees do, where they have to hand out like 25 samples a shift if it's busy. So they get to go out, the customers in the yard get to try new food. They can try our food, they can meet our employees, and just realize that we're more of like I say we're more of a customer service based company instead of food. So we'll just try to do whatever we can to make it right, make the food good, and make everything look really good, and have a really good impression on the customer to return and to spread us by word of mouth.
So what did Taylor think about this venture when you discussed that with her?
She was all for it. She was supportive. Really, the only thing is, getting away from like a set pay that you're
Right.
going to make. Having a small business is a little different. 'Cause right now I just pay myself kind of how the bills fall, to try to keep as much as I can toward the business. Um, because for some, like whenever you're trying to start, you kind of see the long term on how everything's going to go, and you just like you got a vision and you know how you're going to get there. But in the beginning, it takes a few years to kind of get stuff going and kind of build it how you want. I think pretty far off in the future, so I'm not really worried about the financial stuff right now. Because I know later on, once we start doing this more and more, getting more locations open, it's going to be a lot. Life's going to be a lot easier for us. It just sucks right now, but
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I like being in the
Yeah,
truck. I like doing the food and talking to people and meeting people.
but yeah, you're a good people person, so I can see where you enjoy doing that. And then when you like your product that you're promoting, and it makes a big difference. So, any what would you say the biggest obstacle has been so far?
Trying to get the hood in at Jonesboro. In Searcy, we have like a hole in the ceiling, and
Uh-huh.
that's good for White County, I guess, the health inspector and everybody down there. But we came up here, and when we decided to put it in the yard, we thought it was going to be pretty simple. We just need a Type 2 hood like we have in the food truck, and we'd be good to go. Well, the fire marshal came in and said, you got to have a Type 1. So finding a good price on that, finding somebody who could install it, them getting here installing it and getting all the inspections lined up has taken probably 3 or 4 months. So
Okay.
we're trying to be open in September. That was our goal, second week of September, but it's definitely not.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So
Maybe it's September 2025. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No.
yeah, I hope not. Well, we were supposed to roll in opening this weekend, but I don't think we're going to be able to again. I think we're probably going to push it back. Which really, we're not going to try to make a big grand opening for this location since we've had the food truck parked there. We're just going
Right.
to kind of roll in and be like, "Hey, we're open now, full service. This is what we have. We sell." Other than the dumplings, we also have like desserts from like an Arkansas local bakery and creamery. So we have like ice cream, we have hot chocolate. We'll have tea from like an Alaskan tea company, and then we'll also have coffee from an Alaskan coffee company. So
All right. So the yard, is it like a group of restaurants and businesses? I haven't been to the yard, so I'm not
yeah,
sure.
so the yard is kind of, we call it an international food hall. So you have BA Eats, which is it's the same as BA Burrito. So they're kind of
Right.
like a Chipotle style restaurant, and they also do like hamburgers and fries that are really good. And then next to it is the bar called the Yard. So that's kind of what it's
Okay. All right.
based around. It's like a full service bar right next to the college, so it brings in a lot of college students. And then there's Larry's Pizza, and then there's Saigon. It's a Vietnamese restaurant, and then there's Squirt, I guess, Alaskan Russian
Okay.
style restaurant. So
Good deal. Good deal. So franchising is uh, something you're looking at too down the road?
yes, so I'm trying to. I think the next move for us is to go to Bentonville. We've already had a presence in Bentonville with the original owner. There, he had one of his food trucks up there that we can't use anymore. Um, so I think if we reintroduce ourselves to Bentonville with a customer base we already have as like a full service restaurant, it would do really well. And
Right.
then I think after that, hopefully we'll have that open by the end of this year. If we can get a decent amount of capital to get everything going there, because that's going to be a full service restaurant. I don't want to do another little concession stand type spot. Then after that, hopefully sometime in 2026, we can open in Oxford, Mississippi, and kind of connect to their college down there, because that's kind of the model for Slater's, is to do stuff with the college, because that's what we do here. I'm serving at the basketball game tonight for ASU, but connect with the colleges, and hopefully after that, work on like marketing and progressing our systems and different stuff like that to where we can roll into franchising 3 to 4 years after that, or maybe sooner, just depending on people possibly
Right.
wanting their own Slater's restaurant.
So what has been one of the biggest surprises as far as interest goes since you started the business?
Like interest on franchising or interest on people
No
wanting
interest like in the business from people. Like what has
a
anything?
lot of people are like, "Are you like chicken and dumplings?" That's what they say. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So it's hard to explain it. Like I mentioned earlier, unless you feed people the food, they have no idea what it is.
Right.
So, I mean, I literally put samples in little portion cups, put them on a tray, a serving tray with spoons, and I walk around and hand out to almost everybody in the yard. So there's like a big group of people there, like a party going on with like 100 people. I try to make sure at least everybody gets a jar of food, at least one dumpling. And every now and then, so I'll do like 25 of one flavor, 25 of the next, and just go around and go around. And that's kind of how I'm hoping to build interest. A lot of people like it, and I mean, we have a lot of like repeat customers in Jonesboro. I know in Searcy we do too, but I know a lot of people by name in Jonesboro just by doing the food truck. So
That's pretty interesting. Yeah. Well, good. So, and then you've also been contacted by a pretty impressive group lately about a feature, right?
yes, yes,
All right. Tell us about that.
um, we're going to be featured on America's Best Restaurants sometime early in 2026. They're coming at the beginning of December to come film in Searcy. So what they do is you pick your food you want them to try. They try it. They'll do different sorts of marketing for you to kind of get interest built in. You call people in, and really it's kind of a thing that'll help draw in business to small local businesses to kind of help them. It originally started during COVID to try to get interest into small businesses or small restaurants. with all the shutdowns and kind of help people get by with that. And they've just kind of built it into something where they're trying to feature more and more restaurants to help out small businesses. So
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. So what, so the basketball, like the college students, has that been a hit with them in Jonesboro? Because you said,
yes, a lot of students will come over from class. They'll come over when I have the truck parked at the yard. They would eat, go back to class, or they would DoorDash it. Um, I've also set the food truck up at a fraternity party here, and it did really well. So hopefully, I can do a couple more of those or some of those every year.
yeah,
But I mean, most of the time, it's really positive feedback. I had a kid come in and he was on the try the dumplings, so I gave him the Alaskan style because that's my favorite. That's the most popular. I went to ask him how it was, and he was like, "This is one of the worst things I've ever tried. There's so much vinegar in this." Blah blah. Blah. Hold on, let me get you another flavor and see how you like it. So I got him the honey chipotle flavor, and he's like, "Oh, this is the best thing I've ever had. I'll probably come and get some of these later." So it's like one of those things. If you have a customer that doesn't like it, but you treat them, you try to figure them out and figure what they like, you'll have a pretty good
right.
customer, for
You
life.
want you want a good, honest response, but sometimes maybe not that honest. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah. Me, I don't really get offended by anything. So I'm like, okay, thanks. I disagree, but I'll get you something you'll like. So
But you brought out a good point though. You didn't just like discredit him and ignore him. You found something that he liked. So you made a customer rather than lost one.
yeah, we had a customer in Little Rock come to the food truck and she ordered the Alaskan style or two Alaskan style dumplings and one um or the first time. So she brought them home. They weren't what she thought they were. So she ordered more the next day of the Alaskan style and brought those home. Well, she made her husband check to make sure that she got Alaskan style. And the employees down there were like, yeah, they got Alaskan style. Well, I got a message saying that they got the wrong food and that if the employees don't know how to make it right, they probably shouldn't be making the food and this and this. And finally, after talking to her for a few hours back and forth through Instagram DM, I figured out that she was ordering the Alaskan style, but she was only putting butter on it. So really, she wasn't ordering a style; she was just getting butter on the
You
dumpling. So
got what
she
they're
thought the
meant.
Alaskan style was just butter, and because that's what she had in Cersei. And so once we got that all figured out, we gave her a free meal. We're like, we'll replace it. We'll get you what you want. Now she'll comment on our post, and she's a good advocator for our brand. So it's really nice.
That's good. And that's what it takes a lot of times, rather than, like I said, rather than like being frustrated and moving on, get that figured out because you get a repeat customer and a word of mouth customer that will, help you with other people. That's going to be key to success.
Yeah.
So, so what do you see like a year or two from now for your company?
Um, a year or two. Hopefully be in all the major markets in Arkansas and kind of try to expand, have better systems down. I mean, Cersei's really the only one with kind of a bad system because they're going off of like stuff that was built 10 years ago, but have better systems down. I'm trying to put a training program together, but I mean, having a different um, s- um, concept at every location is just hard to put one together for because we can fit into so much stuff. Like we can do the food hall type deal, like we're doing in Jonesboro, the full service restaurant like Cersei, or a ghost kitchen permanent food trailer serving through another place in Little Rock. So we have like three different concepts, but we can roll with quite a bit. It's just really easy. But so I really tried to expand and make all the concepts easy. Um, if we do a franchise, make it affordable, make sure we get the right people that want to, do it. Cause I know there's a lot of franchises that'll franchise out to like the wrong person and they'll get like 5 or 6 different restaurants and not necessarily take care of it. And so I kind of want to go the Chick-fil-A way. Whenever I think of it in my head, I want to limit how much people can get so they actually take care of the restaurant. And I think that'll probably be best for the brand. But then again, at the same time, it's like you don't want to miss out on like what that person could possibly do having more than one location. So, but that's still a
Sure.
long way.
And the good thing too about the way you've done it, you've got three different models here that going into a new market, and depending on space, whatever, you know, you know what you can do for that location. It's not going to be like reinventing the wheel every time. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean, food truck, ghost kitchen, food hall, full service restaurant, quick service restaurant. Yeah, we can do it all with this. The original owner said if he had 800 square feet and people would just buy it and leave, that would have been perfect. But that's not what he ended up with. But I kind of like how we're going with
yeah.
what it's so simple and it tastes so good, and it's something that everybody can enjoy and get behind, and hopefully we can build a decent brand with what we have, food wise, and kind of be like that Chick-fil-A or like something that people really like, and they'll back and I guess stand up for 'em, tell people. So
Right. Well, I tell you what, I just give a little background about you and I. I've known you for several years, and you modeled at my bridal shows. You've done concept shoots with me. You've been part of my company off and on for some time now, and so I know your work ethic, man. I know your heart. I know that you are wise beyond your years. So there's no doubt you're going to do well with this, and I'm excited for you.
yeah, I'm hoping. I know it'll take some time to build. I tell my wife I'm like I'm impatiently patient. Like I wish everything could already happen, but I don't want to like sit there and like I'd rather like be in the journey for the next 10 years and figure it all out than to skip 10 years down the road and miss 10 years of,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'd rather like I don't know, this is a big jump, it's like you go from like I guess a career where I had like, everything was stable to something like this, and it's just like, oh well, it's day to day. I
Well,
just I gotta
that's
go day to day.
yeah, that's when you realize if I don't do it, it won't get done. That type
Yeah,
thing.
I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit. Like I've always wanted to like do my own thing, and I just didn't know where it would fall, and it just happened to fall in this and in food, and I like it. So,
So how did you say you found out about it?
so
You
my wife's boss mentioned something that there was a really good dumpling place in Cersei, and so that's when Taylor emailed and was like, "Hey, would you look into franchising or licensing stuff for us?" And so
okay, yeah.
within 5 minutes of us being down there meeting with him, he's like, "I'll sell you the whole thing if you want." I was about to make a post on social media saying that we're for sale. I'm like, "Oh well, yeah, the perfect timing," you
So it's Taylor's fault after all. So she better be supportive.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
No,
we figured out like I usually do lunches and dinners every now and then for these factories or around town, and I make trips every week to Little Rock or Searcy to make sure everything's going good at those spots, and do what I need for them while I'm down there because it's hard to drive, 5-6 hours round trip in a day and still do a food truck because most of the time I got to wait for an order to come in around noon, get done with the lunch shift wherever I'm at, go get the order, make sure I have everything, head down. So some
yeah.
days are really long. Like I like having my own schedule. Some days, you can work 12, 15 hours if you're like busy and you have a lot of stuff to do or you have a food truck event. Some days you work like 2 or 3 hours. So
Yeah.
it all kind of evens out, and I don't. That's kind of how my mind operates best, being sporadic, so or
Well,
busy.
and people, think it's always great to be self-employed. You work for yourself, you work when you want to, but they don't see the long hours, the late nights, the early mornings. They don't see all the stress that goes with it sometime, but it's the best position to be in ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and whenever we had Harvest Fest in Little Rock, I didn't know what to expect because the downtown food truck fest definitely wasn't what I expected, just because the layout of it all. It was still a good event, but I figured Harvest Fest wouldn't be as busy. But we stayed with some of our friends in Searcy the night before. I drove the truck down to Searcy, plugged it up at the store. We had to wake up and go get the truck by 6 to get down to Little Rock to get set up, and we ended up leaving Little Rock around 8 that night after serving straight through the day. I think we sold close to 200 pounds of dumplings.
Really?
And then I still had to
Wow.
drive the truck all the way back to Jonesboro. So that was a
That was,
long day. I went through, I guess, probably
yeah.
about close to 15 gallons of gas in the generator and almost a full propane tank just from burning, boiling. And we kept having people come up to the truck because Slater's has been there for a couple years, doing it for a few years now. And they're like, usually there's a line and usually your guys are busy. And Taylor kept saying, yeah, I just no. I'm like, Taylor, we have been slammed. We're just really good at serving the food really fast. And we only had, it was only me, Taylor, and another employee from Cersei.
Yeah.
And Taylor kept saying, we need more people. We need more people. I was like, Taylor, I'm not going to ask an employee to come. So finally I folded and asked another employee. So we had 3 people. I was just going to run with me and Taylor all day and see how he did.
Taylor didn't want that, huh?
No, I mean, no, it was, once we got all set up and going, I mean, we did better. That was our best food truck event all year. But yeah, it was a mess trying to figure out where we were going to go. Kroger kept threatening to tow us if we parked any closer to their parking lot. So, well, I don't know what we got. This is where we're told to be.
All the fun parts of learning. Yeah.
Yeah, but we did really well. I guess people expected a line and didn't expect us to have the food out to them immediately. Because I mean, it was like as soon as they ordered, I heard them order, and I would be handing it to them in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they, I mean, with it being the new Sladers is just what I call it. I don't think they expected it to be so quick because originally they were like making big orders and like piling up lists, and they'd make them and then send them out, and then they would wait till they had more orders, and so people were waiting, 10 to 15 minutes for their food. And in a food truck, you really shouldn't. Like in the food truck game, if you have a line, you're probably not the best at service, but people that don't know think that having a line is really good.
But it's not good if people are waiting and not happy.
Yeah. No, yeah, that like the whole goal was to make this more efficient and make it, I guess, better overall. And I think that I was able to do that really quick. So.
Well, good deal. Well, we're going to put your information up so people will know how to contact you. So we'll have that on the screen to have your email, your location, and then but Zach, thank you so much for being with us today, man. I appreciate it. And if there's anything ever I can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out. So
will do.
All right, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Lux Life Discovered.
Will do. Thank you.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.